You died. You were technically deemed as dead. What do you remember? What was that like? Did you do the whole I saw light and all that? Like you said, you heard the voice of God. I mean, was it literally auditory in your ear? I mean, can you expand on that for us?
Sure. Well, I saw myself out of my body when I was going into the operating room and they tied me down and I was in convulsions and I was bleeding to death internally. So 80% of my blood was in my stomach. And my ego, which saved my life, and my physical strength, because I was in shape, they even said that's what kept you alive when you came back. It was like, it wasn't just that the average person could have never survived that, but because my body was in great shape, and then when I came back I was able to heal so quickly. And although I was in physically great shape, but my other body, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, were not. And I saw myself out of my body watching, hey, this is Sierra, she's going through this amazing experience of watching the operation. And it was really amazing because this was Sierra and her body and this lifetime, but my soul knew this is what I needed to go through. So it was like you're so out of alignment with who you are, Sierra, and what your true potential is and why you're here. Let me remind you, like fine tuning a radio station, get back in alignment. And so my soul knew that. And my soul also knew my ego was so strong because of being a survivor that it needed to take that big of a sledgehammer over the head to awaken me, to soften my ego, to get back into my body, into who I am, and the love for myself and my creator, God, whatever, to me, God. And I remember I had insomnia for 17 years. And the insomnia was running away from the pain, from the abuse. And I kept abusing myself different ways, but I looked great on the outside because I was in the fitness business. I had it all down. So it was really a way that I survived. And those survival tools that once helped me as a child are now attacking me. They're harming me, they're hurting me because I am now attracting people who are hurting me again.
Mhm.
And so when I had my conversation with God, the best way to describe it is Christ is like the middleman. Now, I'm Catholic, I was brought up Catholic. I believe in God, I believe in Creator, and I believe in Christ. And I was like, okay, I'm raised Catholic and Christ. Okay, so Christ came to me and was sitting on my bed and talking to me, and it was all intuitively. And I knew everything he was stating was true. And the more I surrendered into it, the more information I was downloading. Why am I here? Like my cellular memory of who I am, of why I'm here, my soul's memory. Even trying to explain it is very hard, But to explain it to the best way possible is that, do you ever do, Dead Man's Float, right? In the ocean, and your ears are covered by the water. And when you're looking up at the sky and you see the expansiveness of the sky, and you could hear the echoes of sounds in the background, you could hear the waves, and you feel this peace, and you feel that you're floating, and you feel like, okay, my body's here, but I'm in such a beautiful space and place
Mhm.
that I totally surrender and let go. And the more you surrender, the more you float, right? The
Mhm.
easier it is for you to float. And when you're in that space and place, you are hearing your own heartbeat, and you're hearing the heartbeat of the universe. That's what it feels like to pass over. And TV does a really beautiful job, but that's the best way to explain it. And the more you're surrendering and the more peaceful you become, the more open you are to receive spirit and God and the voice.
And
And
you
that's
actually heard the voice like an auditory, or it was a feeling, a knowing?
all of it, all of my senses. So that's what tantric actually means. Tantric means using all of your senses to connect to God, to spirit. Now, how do I do that in my everyday life? How do I bring that into the bedroom? How do I bring that into my business? How do I live that? That's actually what tantric means. I am using all of my senses to connect to God and spirit. And that's what awakened all of my senses as a human being. And that connection was so powerful that I was able to hear the voice of God. Christ was sitting at the edge of my bed. You know what Reiki is, hands-on healing. He actually put his hands on my body and was like fine-tuning again a radio station, reminding my cells and the pain that I've experienced and the pain of the loss and the operation, that it was this amazing Christ consciousness, this healing consciousness came through me. And what it did is the best way to explain it's like cancer. Cancer cells are all like this. Okay, they're out of alignment, they're out of sync, they're out of alignment with God, they're out of alignment with your higher potential. They're creating chaos and drama. So that's what the cancers of a cell look like. Okay, and this is what Christ did. The cells went like this. This is the power of healing. So the cells are no longer chaotic and crazy. They're coming into alignment. They're talking to each other. And whatever pain or whatever there is in the body, it's slowly releasing because they're all talking to each other. It's like champagne bubbles, you know, they're all rising and speaking and vibrating. And that's what it felt like. It was like, Sierra, let me remind you of who you are and what the frequency you are, who you are. And when you feel that frequency and you feel what we call purpose, and you feel that inside of you, then you're so clear because you know where you're going and what your purpose is and why you're here. And the hardest part I feel that people are having right now is depression, is they can't feel that because they're not in their bodies. They're not in their senses. They're not connected to not only their body, because you have to be in your body to connect to your senses, which is creating all this friction and resistance within us. So for me, that's what hands-on healing and Reiki is. We all know those people who are in the healing industry. What are you doing? Christ was the first human being to recognize that God moved to him and through him. Now I was brought up Catholic, but I converted to Judaism. I don't care what religion you are. Christ was the first human being to recognize that God moves to him and through him, and he could heal with his hands. Now, working with shamans, working with different sages, they will not say Christ consciousness. They'll call it white diamond light. They'll call it anything else because it brings up religion. However, every guru, shaman, healer is trying to channel the light of God, light of Christ consciousness to them and through them to help others heal. So that's what I felt. That's what I know. It's a beautiful gift that I've experienced. I came back with amazing gifts, which I already kind of had as a little girl, the healing, the compassion, understanding the power of my hands, intention. But this was on a whole nother level of seeing things, feeling things, and helping people move through trauma